Welcome to another episode of Spotlight with Titilope. My name is Titilope Badamusi Adebayo. Today, I have with me a guest who is in politics, a tech expert in politics, a young person who has taken the bull by the horns to take charge of politics and leadership in his community. I'm sure that you are all interested in who this person is. I'll be unveiling him shortly. On Spotlight with Titilope, we talk about issues, we speak to big wigs, we talk about trending topics, and then we also want to know what's happening in the political space, especially around us. Stay with me as I unveil my guest. Thank you for coming, Engineer Faozey.
Yeah, thank you for having me on this show.
Well, a lot of people know that you are out for Oyo Central Senatorial District race.
Okay.
For some people, they think you're a young person and you have declared to run.
Exactly.
People think you are too young for that role. What do you have to say to this?
I think it's an understatement that one is very young to vie for the position of Senate, because the generation we have and the 24th century we have, the youth owns this generation, and we have the capability, the experience, you understand, of the jet age to run the affairs of government. Because what's really is a governance is the knowledge, the application, and based on the acquired knowledge you have and the existing technology of the 21st century, which we need to apply in the existing challenges in the government sector, especially in Nigeria. So we are in the best position to be running for what is it called? Any political offices, even including governor. We are not too young to run for even a governorship seat, because this is the generation that we understand better, we understand technology, we are the largest consumer of technology. So I am the best person, being a young person that is in the helms of affairs of different innovations and technological innovations. So I am the best person to run for it as a young person that understand the 21st century technology and running a government using technology.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think I understand when people say, oh, he looks too young for this job. Do you want to tell us your age?
Well, currently I am 39 years of age, and by 2023 I'll be 40 years of age. So I am not young at all.
Under 40.
Exactly.
What gives you the confidence that you are ready, ripe, and prepared for this role?
Currently, let me give you a background of what I do. I'm a technology expert. I'm a telecom engineer. Currently, I'm one of the licensed company by the Nigerian Communications Commission, so which I am the founder and the CEO as a clearinghouse company in Nigeria. So there's a lot of things that affect our business in Nigeria. So that give me an insight based on several policies that I've wrote for federal government on how government can generate more revenue in the telecommunication industry. And my company also, which I represent and founded during the last dispensation, was the consultant that the National Assembly House Committee on Telecommunication made as a consultant for revenue generation and erasure of call masking in the telecom industry. Because during those periods, there is a lot of scarcity of foreign exchange. So we have a lot of difficulties in settling our partners using the foreign exchange. So I wrote a lot of policy for federal government on how government can be able to generate revenue, and at the same time to implement a policy which will not put more pressure on the Nigerian foreign exchange reserve. So, but a lot of people in the National Assembly, they may not be able to understand because they are not in the industry. So, because of the policy that I've written, so which is very difficult for them to understand. So that is one of the major reasons I want to participate in politics. Okay, like in the last dispensation, my company was a consultant with the House Committee on Telecommunication at the National Assembly, uh, whereby we discuss about the revenue generation in the telecom industry for government and how government is losing revenue in the telecom industry, and at the same time for call masking, which is what is reducing the government revenue, and at the same time a loss for the mobile network operators in Nigeria. So I participated as a consultant, wrote a policy, yeah, for the House Committee on Telecommunication, and at the same time advised them and make a report on how the whole process can go smoothly. So I have a lot of experience working with the National Assembly. So in summary, I've been in the government at the
Okay.
national level working with them because there is a lot of area whereby you can participate in governance. For example, currently I'm part of the multi-stakeholder advisory group on Nigeria Internet Governance Forum, so which is a multi-stakeholder program which involves the government, the private sector, the civil society, and the academia.
Okay.
So initially, I represented the civil society organization until when I founded my own private company, which is licensed by the Nigerian Communications Commission as a clearinghouse. So currently, I'm representing the private sector as part of the multi-stakeholder group in the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum.
Okay. Let me ask you. You said you were brought in as a consultant in the last dispensation.
Exactly.
Can you give us more insights into what policies you advised on?
Well, in the last dispensation, there are a lot of challenges in which the telecom companies were facing then, and some other smaller companies.
What kind of challenges?
Okay, for example, in the last dispensation, the international call rate to Nigeria was around 3 naira 90 kobo.
Okay.
Yes, which was very low compared to the international call rate of other countries, which was even up to 200 naira in conversion for other African countries like Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and some other African countries. But Nigeria was the lowest there. So, for example, if an international partner sent a call of 1 million minutes to me, and I have to pay them almost 200 naira per minute. So the amount I used to settle them is higher compared to the amount they are going to use to settle the Nigerian company, because the minute rate for Nigeria rate there was around 3 naira 90 kobo compared to 200 naira. So I wrote a policy for the House Committee on Telecom that okay, they can increase the call rate to Nigeria, which God's willing by today the current rate is at 23 naira 40 kobo official
From 3
rate.
naira.
Yes. So which was a result of the policy I wrote to the House Committee on Telecom in the last dispensation. And at the same time, we have almost 1 billion minutes then coming to Nigeria monthly. So government has no benefits in those calls coming to Nigeria. So I wrote a policy called a salt tax on international calls, whereby government can be making a revenue in form of tax from the international calls coming into the country.
So, from your involvement in the last dispensation, you have been able to increase the economic value from the telecommunications industry, and that's very laudable. Let's come to Oyo Central.
Okay.
You have declared your ambition to run for Senate. We spoke about it earlier. Oyo Central has 11 local governments.
Okay.
And if you look at the way Oyo Central is structured, you find that some of this senatorial district is in the urban area and some are agrarian. How do you intend to harness the potentials of both the urban side and the agrarian side for development of Oyo Central?
Well, thank you very much. Very glad you mentioned about the rural nature of the 11 local governments in Oyo Central, which in the political aspect we call the less city.
Yes.
That's majorly what interests me to participate, because as a business person, in every adverse situation, we try to use it to benefit it in the business environment. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic. The telecom and technology companies made more money. Even I was very busy compared to the era of before the pandemic. So we made a lot of revenue using the what is it called, the situation of COVID-19. So as a business-minded person, the rural area, they are like an emerging economic zone. When I become the senator of Oyo Central, we are doing something currently, which is a research and some documentations, whereby in each of the local governments, we are going to we are already doing research, which we already got a result, you understand, from few local government, based on the resources of each local government. For example, let me take my local government as an example, which is Oyo West local government. Assuming we detect a gold or other minerals in Oyo West local government, we are going to develop it in form of a business acumen. Then we use the proceeds from it to develop the Oyo West local government. We are going to replicate the same thing in other local government. So currently, we have a mining site in one of the 11 local governments of the Oyo Central Senatorial District, because I made my research that most of the resources being used for road construction and house construction comes from the quarry. So the only thing is machineries and the labor. So we already acquired a mining site where we can be using to develop the road infrastructure.
Is it a personal mining site?
Yes, of course, it's a personal mining site on business platform,
Okay.
but we are going to use it in form of a corporate social responsibility to develop the Oyo Central.
How about the agricultural part of this? What are the prospects of Oyo Central becoming a very big agriculture hub?
Okay, thank you. On the agricultural aspect, I'm conducting a research also, which the report is completed. We already identified an area which we pick one of the local governments in Ibadan, which falls under my senatorial district, which is Lavgelu local government. We already have a farm for the pilot phase. So whereby we are going to provide the required resources for the youth to engage in agriculture. So we already have acquired the land, whereby an individual that want to participate in the program, for example, in the area of crop production, we provide the seedlings, we provide the machineries that they are going to use, and some other startup funds, whereby they can be able to harness the agricultural aspect of it. So we already put that in place, and we are using Lagelu as a pilot phase, which will be replicated in the other local governments.
Okay, unemployment is a major issue.
Okay.
And if you are talking about a rural and urban setting, then you have a mix of all kinds of youths, educated, semi-educated, or those who are skilled in one or two areas.
Okay.
How do you intend to harness these potentials, bringing the people in the urban area, and then those from the rural area, and making sure that no one is left behind in your youth movement, or giving more potentials for youths?
Okay, to me, the people that resides in the rural area, they can enjoy the same benefit with the people in the urban area. For example, in the technological aspect, currently we are working with the Nigerian Communications Commission, which I engaged NCC in the area of a building network in a rural area or in underserved community where there is no network coverage. So which they gave an helping hand by giving a spectrum to do the pilot phase. So we want to, personally, I want to focus in the rural area because there is a market and there is no infrastructure in those areas for them to be able to harness it. I was thinking on the business perspective that, okay, this is a virgin land whereby I can be able to start my business, develop the business, start it, and when you look at the cluster of the rural area, I can have a larger number of users or subscribers to be able to enjoy the benefit of the telecom service in that area, which I think NCC also, they are trying to roll out an MVNO license, mobile virtual network operators, which is going to benefit more the rural community. So in that area, I'm already working, and we already did a pilot phase in 2 rural communities for us to build a network for them where there's no network coverage. If we build a network, a whole lot of business will fall on top of it. For example, mobile aspect of it, like a mobile money,
Okay.
internet service, internet facility, which they can be able to do what the people in the urban areas are doing. They also enjoy the benefits. So we already put some things in place like a technology hub, which is going to be launched in the next few weeks. So we try to establish that as a tech hub and a hub for emerging technologies, whereby the youth, both in the rural and the urban area, can come over for mentorship. They have access to startup funds, and at the same time, they have access to facility. So the people in the rural area, when they come over for the mentorship in the technology hub, when they go back to their respective rural communities, since we already established an infrastructure for them, so they can be able to go on and continue with the benefits that the urban people are enjoying in the area of technology.
So basically, you would be upskilling people from the rural, upskilling youth from the rural areas to the urban area in terms of technology. It's good to hear that.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back. You're still on to Spotlight with Titilope, and I'm talking with Engineer Faozey. You talked about a technological hub for youths to upskill youths and get more people involved in technology. This technological hub, is it the first of its kind in the senatorial district?
Yes, of course, it's first of its kind, and based on what we are going to be uploading on the Tech Hub, is one of its kind in the southwest region of Nigeria.
What is the capacity?
Well, the capacity, it can contain almost 500 participants at a time.
500 participants at a time?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, but then we also have, when people don't have basic knowledge of technology, do you have like a preparatory class of some sort so that you don't have just the urban part of your senatorial district in this as a part of this technological hub? How do you, or are you going to say that since you are coming from this rural area, we'll let you do what you can within the confines of your skill, or you are bringing them to say, okay, we can upskill you by taking you through gradual classes?
Okay.
Do you have any preparations or any plans for that?
Well, to answer that question, let me give you a background about the technology hub. The brain behind of setting up the technology hub is to create a platform for technological development, for people to learn new technology and innovations.
Okay.
Then for the another set of people to learn what is technology, maybe the beginners. We have a lot of programs for beginners. For example, if you approach our hub, we are going to do a kind of a survey and interview to know the level. Then the level you have, if it is a beginner, we have a level for beginner, like an introductory on what technology and innovation is. For example, we have a lot of people, they have no idea about technology and how technology functions, but they only have a kind of an idea, okay, technology is the new gold mine. So we try to give them an insight of what technology and innovation is. So once we give them the highlight of what technology is, then we try to start as a preparatory process for them. till they migrate to the next level. For example, we have a lot of people who are already in the tech, who are gurus in the tech, but it's going to be a platform for them to learn more about new innovations and new technology, because technology develops every day. We can look at the likes of Nokia because they didn't blend with the current technological development. So that's why they were out of the market. So that is what part of what the Innovation Hub is going to be doing, whereby people can be learning about new innovations and new technology, even the people who are gurus and professionals in the technological industry.
Still on technology, sir, do you have ideas how we can manage insecurity in situations with technology?
Well, from crime perspective, crime can be committed, or let me say we have different motives for people that committed crimes. In this our environment, the major crimes that is ongoing is because of unemployment. You understand? For example, if we set up the hub and we employ almost 500 youths, the the crime rate is going to be reduced drastically, because from the study in this our locality and environment, a whole lot of young people engage in crimes most, and they engage in that because they don't have any employment, they don't have any means, you understand, to put food on their table and livelihood. So it's going to, that's the first thing, employment development. So we are going to use the hub to upscale employment in different categories, because part of what we are going to be offering, we are going to be offering a mentorship and startup funds in different sectors using technology, even though in agriculture. Because if you are sitting in your house, you can know what is going on in your farm. Maybe when it is due to water, the soil, and a whole lot of things. But it's going to reduce the crime rate in our environment based on the nature of the crime in our environment, because most of the crimes are being committed by the young people. So if we create employment for them, and before the employment, we do a kind of advocacy for them.
Okay.
You understand, as a youth, we try to, like a rehabilitation. Yeah, we are going to have a kind of a rehabs department for a lot of youths that are already engaged in drug and a whole lot of illicit activities. So we are going to give them the advocacy, the orientation, then we bring them in the limelight of technology, whereby they can be able to be employed and have something to be doing. So with that, technology is going to be reduced drastically. That is first aspect. Then the second aspect is this, how to use technology to curb crime. A lot of applications is going to be developed in the hub to use it to curb crimes. So that is going to be used also, for example, using a drone technology. It's part of technology that you can use to curb insecurity, which is even being used by the developed countries, an advanced company also, to detect crime and at the same time to respond to crime by, because part of what we are going to include in the hub is smart city. The smart city in the area, I think Oyo State had it in the last dispensation, whereby they have cameras everywhere. So that is part of the measures to curb crimes.
So you're bringing that back?
Yes, of course, we are bringing that back.
How about farm settlements?
What do you mean by farm settlement?
If you have a farm settlement, okay, how do you secure? Because we are talking about your senatorial districts, which we believe is going to be, we are going to have an agricultural revolution. Exactly. How do you secure the farmlands? How do you ensure that they are being monitored for optimal?
Well, we have a practical solution. Like I said earlier, we have a farm settlement, which we are using as a pilot phase in Lagelu local government. What we have been doing is we have some smart cameras.
Okay.
You understand? We have a fishery department there, and based on the schedule we made, there's going to be the person on the site is going to be feeding the fish 2 times in a day. So there is an enclosure which has a smart lock. The person on the site cannot have an access to where the ponds are. So for example, any location we have, we can open. For example, if we agreed with the person on site that, okay, by every 1 p.m., you have to be feeding the fish. Then from the remote location we have, we open the locks. Then once we open the lock, we'll be looking at the person in the camera. When he finishes feeding the feeds, he locks it. And we confirm from where we had that, okay, the gate is locked. Because the person can may want to play a smart one by not closing the gates correctly, we are going to know because we get notification using a smart lock system and a smart camera, which we can be able to see what is happening remotely. So that's part of technology we are trying to bring forth, because anything we want to do, any innovation, we want to put a touch of technology into it.
So you have built a smart system for anyone who wants to play smart.
No, of
That's
course, yes,
interesting.
exactly.
Okay, my last question.
Okay.
You are a youth and you have come out big.
Okay.
We know that running this kind of campaign, going into this kind of part of politics is
Okay.
not cheap.
Okay.
We have the young, not too young to run bill, but we also have people who are clamoring for not too poor to run.
Okay.
For youth who want to run, who want to do politics, who want to be involved, actively involved, what is your
Okay.
advice to them?
There are different perspectives based on what you mentioned, which a lot of people, a lot of youth think it's an issue for them to engage in politics because of the financial implication. But to me personally, I don't have that belief. I believe in collaboration. Actually, that is the reason why I want to engage in politics, by creating a model for the youth that we can do it all. If we all come together, let's assume we have like 3 million youths, and we contribute a token, even though as low as 2,000 naira, we can be able to achieve, maybe by pushing someone forward. But we have not gotten to that stage. The same thing happens during the HENSAS. When people were out there protesting, they contributed among themselves, provide food. So when you look at the collaborative aspect, it's something we can be able to achieve. But I think we are not ready, and there's no a kind of unity and one voice among youths. So I'm trying to create a model, because I'm trying to use my own private finances, you understand, based on the proceeds I get from my company, to run it by creating a model. Once we get there, bringing the youth together, create a common voice. Okay, we can be able to achieve it, even though by engaging in the macro economy, in the sense that let's have a cluster of youths, like 2 million, for example. We try to bring in resources among ourselves, and we can create the kind of a macro economy among ourselves. Maybe we have a person that is an electrician, for example. If we have any electrical jobs, in that cycle of the macro economy, we give it to the person. If we have, let's say, mechanic in the cycle, any of the people in the 3 million macroeconomic cycle, we give our cash to them. With that, we are rolling an economic activities, and we can be able to achieve it. Because everybody, in one or two ways, we try to buy and sell, you understand, by opting for a service for our own benefits.
In conclusion, what you have just said is youth can only achieve this clamor for more participation if they rally around one another and
Exactly.
promote the cause of the youth.
Exactly.
Thank you
yes.
so much for coming, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a nice time with you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much for staying with us on this episode of Spotlight with Titilope. Don't forget to follow our social media handles showing on the screen, and watch out for the next episode. It promises to be as interesting and entertaining as this last one. Thank you. Bye.